What's up guys, thank you for joining. Today I'm gonna teach you how to use Star Schema in Power BI Desktop. So, are you ready? Let's do this. Real quick, here's our agenda for today's tutorial. I have 4 different points. The first 3 points are just theory, but really important to understand the popular Star Schema. Okay, and finally, as always, I have here a practical case and we will put everything into practice. So now let's move on to the first point. What is the Star Schema? Like it says right here, it's a dimensional design for a relational database. For this particular type of schema, we have 2 different types of tables. We have dimension tables and we also have fact tables. So, and we will get the details in the next slides, okay? So this schema gets its name from its appearance. It looks like a star or asterisk. So you will see the details in the next slide. So this is the design, right? Like I mentioned before, the fact table is in the middle, and then we also have the dimension tables around it. And then the relationship between dimension and fact is from 1 to many, as you can see right here. So now let's move on to the next slide. So what are dimension and fact tables? And this is just as a reference, but for dimension tables, these type of tables describe entities such as products, people, places, and time. And you will see the details in the example, okay? And then the other components, you can read it. For fact tables, these types of tables store observations or events such as sales orders, stock balances, exchange rates, temperatures, profits, and other components as well. Another key component of this type of tables is the key column. There should be a key column to connect dimension tables with fact tables. Okay, please keep that in mind. So now guys, let's move on to the next slide. Normalization and denormalization. So these are 2 different types of methods that we're going to use to create dimension tables and also fact tables. So normalization, we use this to create dimension tables. Like it says right here, this term is used to describe data that is stored in a way that reduces repetitious data, eliminates redundancy, adds small tables to the model, and also uses Power Query to transform and shape the source. And then denormalization is the opposite. We combine data here, adds redundancy, and also reduces the number of tables and the complicated joins. So now let's move on to the next slide. Practical case. Here we're going to use the Star Schema to create a dimensional design in Power BI Desktop. Okay, so this is Power BI Desktop. Real quick, we have 2 different tables. We have the country table and also the financials table. So how do we identify fact tables and dimension tables? Country, for example, if you remember the description, the definition, there was a definition about places. And for this particular case, we have places here, right? We have country, we have state, we have city. So right away, we can say that this table is a fact table. If we take a look at the other table, the financial table, so this should be the fact table. Let's take a look at that. So we have right here these columns, and also if we take a look, the other columns, we have units sold, manufacturing price. Yes, this is the fact table. We have gross sales, discounts, sales, profit. There you go. So this is the fact table, my friends. And now, since we already identified these 2 tables, we are ready to start playing with Power Query. So let's go to transform data here, because we need to normalize tables here, right, to identify our dimension tables. These are the 2 tables that we have. And now the first thing that we want to do here is to rename this table, okay? So we're going to rename this, we're going to call this country based. And here we're going to call this financials based as well. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do here is right click, reference this table. and we're gonna rename this. We're gonna call this just country, okay? There you go. So now we are ready to start normalizing this table. As you can see here, so we have country, state, and city, and we also have duplicated information. So rows 2 and 3, we have duplicated information, right? So the next step here is to remove duplicates. Let's do that. So now we have just unique values here, okay? The next step here is to create a key column. So how do we do that? So let's go to add column here, and then we're gonna add index column, an index column here from 1. So let's see what happens. See right there? So we have a unique feature for every single row. So that's key for this type of analysis. And also what you can do here is rename this column. So let's call this, since this is country, let's call this country key. How about that? Let's hit enter. There you go. So now we have this normalized country table, which is a dimension table, right? So now we need to have this country key in the fact table as well, because we have to connect these two tables, right? So what we're gonna do here is the following. So let's go to financials base, and we're gonna do something similar here. Reference, and then let's call this just financials, okay? Because this is gonna be the fact table. Okay, so if we go back to country, see right here we have country, state, and city. Okay, keep that in mind. Country, state, and city. If we go to financials, we have country here, and we also have state. We don't have city, but we do have these two columns. So that's gonna be key to match these two tables, okay? So we are here in the financials table. The next step here is to merge financials and country. So the idea here is to grab the key column from the country table, all right? So home, merge queries. So let's do that. Here we have financials, and also we need to merge with country. So what are the columns that are in common here? If you remember, we have country here, and also we have state. Hold down control and select state. So the order is really important. We need to select here country as well, and then the second column that we need to select from country is state. So that's the order that we need to have. So left outer is fine. Let's hit OK. Another good practice here is to rename this, right? So merge. So we are merging financials here, right, in the financials table with country. Remember that? There you go. What else? So here, if we expand this, we care about country key. So let's select country key and then hit OK. Perfect. Okay, so another good practice here, if we want to rename this, we can rename that as well. Just country key, okay? We can do that, and let's hit approve. Country key. Perfect. So now we have the country key in the fact table. So there is a way to connect financials with country. So we are good there. The next step here is to do the following. So let's take a look at the financials table again. And what is another column that can give us a dimension table? So we already took a look country. How about product? So this is another candidate to create a dimension table, right? So we have product here. What else do we have? And we also have product category. So let's do that. So let's select financials base, okay? Let's reference this, and then we're gonna call this product. Check this out, product right there. And the next step here is to select product and product category. Hold down Control to select two different columns. Right click and then remove other columns. Check this out. So see how it works? So now let's hit this table right here and then remove duplicates. Boom. So if you realize, the idea here is to create a key column. So the key column has unique features, right? And for this particular case, if we take a look at product, we already have unique features here because those are unique. And then product category, we have duplicated information. We can leave this as is, or we can also create a key column. So we can do that as well. So let's do that. Check this out. From 1, there you go. Here we have unique values, right? So let's hit index here. And let's rename this. We want to call this product key, right? So we are good now. Okay, so we are good now with this dimension table, the product table. What else can we do here? So if we take a look at financials, this is the fact table, and we also have here date, right? Have date here. So that means that we need to create our dates table. So here we can use DAX to create a calendar table or a date table, or we can use Power Query. Since we are already using Power Query, we can keep using Power Query to create our calendar table. So let's go to home here, new source, blank query. Here we go to view and then advanced editor. So here we can place the piece of code. So for this particular case, we're going to use a website because there is free sources out there and we're going to use that. So this is the website that we want to use, okay? So there is a book called Expert Data Modeling with Power BI. So there is a free source here where you can grab this piece of code and then you can adapt it. So we're going to do that. We don't have to reinvent the wheel because we have this feature right here. So Control C, and then let's go back to here again, Control V, there you go. Let's hit done. And now we have parameters here. So what is the start year? So I know, because I'm quite familiar with this financials table, that the start year is 2013 and then the end year is 2014. Okay, if you don't know that, so you can explore your fact table and see what is the start year, okay, and also the end year in your model. Okay, so because I know that, I'm just placing the years here. Let's hit invoke and let's see what happens. Boom, there it is. This is the calendar table that we created by using Power Query. So let's rename this table. Let's call this dates. Okay, there you go. So the other step that we want to perform here is to join the product table with the financials table, with the fact table. Because why? Because we don't have the product key column yet. So let's do that real quick. So I'll go to financials here. We're going to merge this table, right? With the product table. It's right there. So we're going to use product here and then also product category. Hold down Control. There you go. And then for product and also product category. Left outer is fine. Let's hit OK. And then right here we can also rename this. This is really important, or a good practice. So we are joining financials with product, right? Hit enter. There you go. And here we care about the product key column. Hit OK. And also we can rename the name of the column here. Just product key. Hit submit. There you go. Perfect. So now we are ready to start creating a star schema. Close and apply, and let's see what happens. It's loading. Fingers crossed, my friends. Okay. Perfect. So the next step here, so we want to delete these relationships. Okay. Power BI automatically creates relationships. I'm gonna leave this for now, okay? So the financial base, we're not gonna touch that. Country base, we're not gonna touch those tables. We have the country table, that's our dimension table. The financials table, this is our fact table. We have the product here, right? There you go. Country, product, fact table, financials, and also we have the dates or calendar table. It should be here. As you can see, the shape is very similar to a star or asterisk. The fact table in the middle and then the dimension tables around it. Country key. So let's create a relationship between country and financials. Country key right there. Boom, one to many. Perfect. For dates, we're gonna do the same thing here. Date from the calendar table, create a relationship with date from the financials table. Boom. For product, very similar here, my friends. We have the product key, and also here we should have the product key. There you go. Product key. Boom. So now this looks better. Let's go back to report real quick. Check this out. Let's create a visual. Before we create a visual, let's create a measure real quick. Let's create our table to store the measures, DAX measures, okay? Right click. So we're gonna create a basic measure here, okay? So, and we're gonna use the financials table. There you go. Okay, hit enter and let's see what happens. Okay, check this out, my friends. Profit here. And now let's go to country. Let's select country. It's working perfectly, my friends. So let's add a label here. Boom. So we want to do something very similar here. Control C, Control V. And then instead of country, we're going to select product. How about product here? Or product category. We can do that as well. Check this out. So this model is working perfectly. Something additional I would like to share with you is the following. See right here, we have different tables now. So we can hide this table so we don't get confused, right? So let's hide this country base. And also we can hide the financials base. Remember that? So if we go back to report, so we are only seeing here country, which is the dimension table, the calendar table, the tax measures table that we just created, the financials fact table, and also the product dimension table. All right, my friends, what do you think about this type of design in Power BI Desktop? So this is one of the most powerful designs that we have, because in terms of performance, your reports, your measures will work faster. So please keep that in mind when you are designing your models in Power BI. Also, if you want to keep sharpening your Power BI skills, take a look at this playlist. See you there.